cruise ships are built for relaxing, but some passengers still manage to turn paradise into police reports, missed departures, lifetime bans, and viral embarrassment. Today we're counting down 10 of the dumbest things passengers did on a cruise ship. And the worst one is so reckless, the cruise line banned the whole group afterward. Number 10. The phone throw pier runner. Every cruise knows the pier runner scene. The ship is ready to leave. The gangway is about to close. People are standing on their balconies with drinks in their hands, watching the dock like it's live sports. Then someone appears in the distance, running like the entire vacation depends on it, because it does. But this one got even worse. In the video, a passenger has missed the ship, and somehow the problem becomes his phone. Someone tries to throw it from the pier up toward the ship, like this is a casual game of catch in the backyard. Except this is not the backyard. It's a cruise port. There's water below. There's a moving ship nearby. There are passengers watching from above. The phone goes up, everyone hopes for the best, and then gravity does what gravity does. Straight into the ocean. Now that's the kind of mistake that feels small until you realize what is inside a phone on vacation. Boarding info, flight details, bank apps, photos, contacts. Maybe the only way to message the people still on the ship. He didn't just miss the cruise, he watched his lifeline take a swim. And that's why all aboard time is not a soft suggestion. If the ship says be back by 4:30, you should not be wandering back at 4:31 with a souvenir bag and blind confidence. Because once that ship leaves, the crew is not turning a floating hotel around because you needed one more drink, one more photo, or one more bargain t-shirt. Number 9. The parents who left their kids on board. Now, missing a cruise ship is already bad, but missing it while your children are still on board is a different level of panic. This happened in Nassau when a couple missed the Norwegian breakaway after returning too late to the pier. The footage shows the ship pulling away while the parents are left on the dock, waving and clearly trying to get someone's attention. That would already be painful to watch, but then comes the detail that makes it unforgettable. Their kids were still on the ship. Now, thankfully, reports said the children were with relatives on board, so they were not alone. But that doesn't make the scene any less stressful. Imagine standing on the pier watching the cruise ship leave, knowing your bags, your cabin, your schedule, and your children are all moving away without you. Now, that's the moment every cruiser should remember before getting too relaxed in port. Because ports can fool you. You step off the ship and suddenly everything feels loose. You're shopping, you're eating, you're walking around. Maybe you think the ship will wait because you're part of a big crowd. It will not. Cruise lines run on port schedules, tides, fuel planning, dock reservations, and thousands of passengers who made it back on time. This is why experienced cruisers set alarms. They use ship time, not local guesswork. And they plan to be back early, not exactly on time. Because the ship leaving without you is embarrassing, but the ship leaving without you while your kids are on board is the kind of vacation story nobody wants attached to their family forever. Number 8. The Key West dispute that ended the cruise. Now this one is messy in a very different way. On October 29, 2025 in Key West, Florida, a cruise passenger was removed after a dispute with his wife. The body cam footage is uncomfortable, chaotic, and full of the kind of regret that only appears after the vacation has already collapsed. In the video, the man keeps talking about alcohol, the cruise, the ship, their luggage, jail, and whether they can somehow get back on board. He says more than once that they cannot get back on the boat, and at one point, the conversation turns to whether they could fly somewhere to rejoin the cruise later. That is when you realize how fast the whole thing fell apart. A cruise that was supposed to be music, drinks, ports, and fun suddenly became police cars, luggage being packed off the ship, charges being discussed, and both people trying to understand what happens next. He had a dispute with his wife. The situation escalated. Police got involved. and instead of continuing the cruise, he was dealing with the consequences in Key West. Now, this is not the kind of dumb mistake that feels funny all the way through. It's more of a warning. Alcohol can turn a bad argument into a life-changing scene very quickly on a ship. There are cameras, there are crew members, there are witnesses, there's security, and if the situation becomes unsafe, the cruise line can remove passengers. People sometimes talk about cruise ships like they're outside normal life. They're not. If something happens on board or near port, there are procedures. There are local police, there are reports, and there are consequences. And the worst part is that once you're removed, the cruise keeps going without you. Your dinner plans, your excursion, your show, your cabin, your luggage, all of it becomes secondary to one question: how do we get home now? Number 7, the man who fell between the ship and the dock. There are plenty of bad places to fall on vacation. Into a pool with your phone in your pocket, into a buffet line while holding coffee, into debt at the casino after saying you were just looking. But falling between a cruise ship and the dock has to be one of the worst. In Nassau, a man fell between the narrow gap between the Norwegian Encore and the pier. The video shows the kind of scene that makes every passenger watching suddenly go quiet, because it's not open water in a calm beach setting. It's the space between a massive ship and a hard dock. The ship is towering over him. The pier is right there. Crew members have to react quickly, and everyone watching understands that this could have gone very badly. Now, this is what makes this entry different from a normal slip. Cruise ports can feel safe because they're organized. You see ropes, signs, crew members, security, shops, music, and crowds of passengers. But that doesn't mean every edge is forgiving. One wrong step near a gangway, one careless lean, one distraction with a phone, and suddenly you're in a place no passenger is supposed to be. The dumb part is not that someone accidentally lost their balance. Accidents happen. The dumb part is how often passengers treat cruise docks like they're casual sidewalks. They walk while filming. They stop in awkward places. They get distracted by the ship instead of watching their feet. A cruise ship is beautiful from the pier, but it's also enormous. And when you're walking near the edge, your job is not to get the best shot. Your job is to stay on land. Number 6, the Carnival Balcony Fisherman. A cruise balcony is one of the best parts of the trip. You wake up, step outside, hear the ocean, and for a few minutes, life feels suspiciously expensive in the best possible way. But apparently, some passengers looked at that balcony and saw something else: a fishing spot. In the viral video, passengers on a Carnival ship were seen fishing from their cabin balcony while docked in the Bahamas. One passenger reels in a fish from several decks above the water, while the person filming laughs like this is the funniest idea anyone's ever had. To be fair, it is funny for about 3 seconds. Then you remember they're on a cruise ship, not a pier. There are rules for this. There are environmental rules, port rules, safety rules, and cruise line rules. You cannot just dangle a fishing line off the side of a ship because you suddenly feel like becoming Captain Seafood. Carnival reportedly banned the guests involved for life. And honestly, this is the part that should scare casual rule breakers more than the original mistake. A lot of passengers assume cruise lines will just give a warning, maybe a stern letter, maybe a crew member saying, "Please do not do that again." But when something creates a safety issue or a legal issue or public embarrassment for the cruise line, the response could be much bigger than passengers expect. One dumb video can become a lifetime ban. So yes, catching a fish from a balcony is strange enough to go viral. But paying for a cruise and accidentally turning your balcony into your final Carnival cabin is even stranger. Number 5. The passenger who fell while filming Star of the Seas. Now this one is almost too modern. A passenger sees Royal Caribbean's Star of the Seas, one of the biggest and most talked about cruise ships in the world, and wants footage. Now that part makes sense. Everybody films new ships. They want the angle, the size, the reveal, the kind of shot that makes people stop scrolling. But while trying to capture the ship on his phone at perfect day at Coco Cay, the passenger reportedly fell off the dock. Royal Caribbean said he was filming the ship when it happened, and crew had to pick him up by jet ski. That means the video he wanted turned into the emergency he created. And the ship had to sound a code Oscar, which is the cruise signal nobody wants to hear because it usually means someone is in the water. This is why phone culture and cruise ports can become a bad mix. People back up while recording. They walk sideways. They look through the screen instead of at the edge. They forget that a dock is not a studio and the ocean does not care about your framing. The passenger was lucky that the crew reacted quickly, but the whole situation is still a warning. No cruise photo is worth stepping backward without checking. No ship video is worth losing awareness of where you're standing. And no social media clip is worth making the crew launch a rescue because you turned a dock into a camera platform. There's a simple rule here. Get the shot only after you know where your feet are. Because if you fall into the water while filming the ship, you're no longer documenting the cruise. You've become part of the cruise news. Number 4. The Carnival Legend Family Brawl. Some cruise problems start small. A missed alarm, a forgotten passport, a drink package decision that gets financially emotional by day 3. This was not small. On Carnival Legend, a large family fight became so serious that nearly 24 family members were removed from the ship. Video from the incident shows security trying to control the chaos while passengers watch and film. This is the kind of cruise clip that makes everyone else on board feel trapped. Because on land, if people start fighting near you, you can leave. You can cross the street. You can get in the car. You can go home. On a ship, you're still at sea with them. That's why cruise lines take fights so seriously. A ship is a closed environment. The crew has to protect passengers, protect staff, keep order, and stop one group from turning the entire sailing into a mess. And when a family brawl reaches the point where the ship has to remove people, the vacation is over. There's no, we were just upset, and there's no, we paid for this cruise, and there's no, we'll behave now. Once security, police, and the captain decide you're a problem, your cabin becomes a temporary storage unit for luggage that is about to be taken off the ship. The dumbest part is how unnecessary it all feels. A cruise is one of the few vacations where nobody has to cook, drive, clean, or plan every hour. You're surrounded by food, pools, shows, ports, music, and ocean views. And somehow, some people still manage to create a family fight big enough to become international news. Number 3. The live streamers who annoyed the whole ship. There is a big difference between filming your cruise and turning the cruise into your content farm. A group of live streamers found that line the hard way on Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas. Reports said 7 streamers were kicked off after incidents involving fighting and complaints about harassing other guests. The group was broadcasting their trip, and what may have started as content became a shipboard problem. This is where cruise culture clashes with live stream culture. A cruise ship is full of people who paid to relax. Some are with kids, some are celebrating birthdays, some are on vacation for the first time in years. Most of them did not buy a ticket to become background characters in someone else's live stream. But live streamers often chase reaction. They want the awkward moment, the confrontation, the stranger who gets annoyed, the scene that makes chat explode. On land, people can walk away. On a ship, the same people keep running into each other at the buffet, the pool, the elevator, the promenade, and the gangway. That makes harassment feel worse because there's no real escape until the next port or the end of the sailing. So when the situation reportedly escalated, Royal Caribbean removed them. And that's the part some content creators forget. The ship is private property. The cruise contract matters. Guest conduct rules matter, and crew instructions matter. You can bring a camera on board, but that does not mean the ship becomes your studio. If your content makes other passengers feel unsafe, cornered, mocked, or bothered, the cruise line does not need to wait until the final day to deal with it. They can end your vacation at the next stop. Number 2, the passenger who punched a crew member. There are many bad ideas on a cruise ship. Fighting another person is one of them. Fighting a crew member is worse. On Icon of the Seas, a video reportedly showed a passenger getting aggressive near the Category 6 water park area before punching a crew member who appeared to be a lifeguard. The crew member was knocked down, and another crew member stepped in. This is one of those clips where the stupidity is obvious before anything happens. You can see the body language. You can see the passenger getting too close. You can feel the situation going from annoying to serious. And then the punch happens. That's the moment the passenger loses the entire argument, no matter what started it. Crew members are there to keep the ship running. They serve food, clean rooms, run activities, manage safety, help passengers, and deal with problems most guests never see. A lifeguard, especially, is not there to be part of someone's tantrum. That person is watching slides, pools, children, crowd movement, and water safety. If something goes wrong, they may be the first person expected to respond. So punching that crew member is not just rude, it's reckless. Cruise lines have very little patience for violence against staff, and they should not have any. A passenger who puts hands on crew can face removal, legal trouble, and a ban from future sailings. And here's the simple truth. If you're angry on a cruise ship, you can walk away. You can ask for a supervisor. You can go back to your cabin. You can cool down. The second you swing at a crew member, the cruise is no longer about your complaint. It's about security. Now, number 1, the man who jumped from the 11th deck. This is the final boss of dumb cruise decisions. Nick Nadev was on Royal Caribbean's Symphony of the Seas when he jumped from the 11th deck balcony while the ship was docked in Nassau. He had friends filming. He climbed over. He launched himself off the balcony. And the video went viral for exactly the reason you think. Because almost everyone watching had the same reaction. Why would anyone do that? A cruise ship balcony is high enough to make your stomach drop when you simply look over the railing. From the 11th deck, the water below is not a pool. It's a hard impact waiting at the end of a very long fall. Reporters said he and his friends were banned from Royal Caribbean afterward. And really, what else could the cruise line do? If someone jumps from a balcony for a viral clip, it creates panic, rescue risk, copycat risks, and massive safety concerns for everyone on board. It also forces the crew to respond as if a real emergency has happened, because it has. And that's what makes this the dumbest entry. It's not a mistake caused by confusion. It's not someone losing track of time in a port. It's not a bad packing decision or a misunderstanding in security. It was a choice. A balcony, a camera, friends laughing, one leap, then a lifetime ban and a viral reputation nobody should want. Cruise ships are fun because they feel safe. You can eat, swim, dance, explore, sleep late, and watch the ocean from a floating city. But that freedom only works because everyone agrees not to do obviously dangerous things. The railing is there for a reason, and if your vacation plan involves climbing over it, the problem is not the cruise line. It's you. Now, most of these disasters came down to one thing: common sense disappearing at sea. Be on time, watch where you step, respect the crew, stay off the railings, and never let one stupid moment become the story of your entire cruise. Now, click the video on screen. I'm sure you'll love it. Your voyage is just beginning.